Okay, I'd like to call to order the Bedford Township Planning Commission regular meeting. It is October 22, 2025, 7 p.m. If we could stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, Mr. Andrews, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Trombley?
Here.
Mr. Montry?
Here.
Mr. Dersch?
Here.
Mr. Lake?
Here.
Mr. Mahoney?
Here.
Mr. Andrews is here. Mr. Helm?
Here. Okay, got a full board tonight, and we'll move on to item 4, approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Support. Mr. Dersch supports. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed. Okay, moving on to item 5, approval of the minutes from the September 24, 2025 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the September 24, 2025 meeting as submitted.
Support. Mr. Dersch supports. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Okay, moving on to item 6, public comment limited to 3 minutes.
Limited to what?
3 minutes.
Gail Kane, Temperance. The reason I came tonight was because you have on your agenda the CIP discussion for the Park Commission. There have been issues at the township boards, and we had Mr. Montry speak here, and he said, I don't think this is how this CIP is supposed to be operating. So excuse me for being ignorant. I don't understand, and I'm trying to figure out, a lot of us are trying to figure out how it is that 1 minute something is on the CIP list, and the next minute it comes off. And it's taking, my understanding is that you're supposed to have control of this. And so when they take vehicles off, and I don't know what the law says, so again, here we've got this discrepancy. We were told we had to do it. Things got put on, now things are being taken off. We have the township manipulating things, and I don't mean you as the township, but the township board manipulating things. One of such was the pickleball courts, which never made it to the CIP list, despite being supposedly in the process or in the budget prior to. So I think the public deserves to know. These are big ticket items. They're supposed to be listed in a matter of essential, non-essential, and I know the pickleball courts here were talked about as being something non-essential, something that didn't have to take place right away, and instead it was pulled out, well, never made it, was whipped up, and we're big bragging rights here about these big pickleball courts. If you look, it takes up almost the entire car park, and that park itself has the most kids. It's circled totally by residential areas. So this is where I'm concerned with all this, and you guys are in charge of the CIP, so I would hope, since you're having a CIP discussion with the Park Commission, that somehow the public is informed or educated in how this whole thing is working. We had another recent one, that piece of equipment, and the person said to me, you know, they never came to me to ask me to put the price on it. I said, well, who determined that for your department? The poor guy has no clue. So I'm just saying there's an awful lot of discrepancy out here, a lot of unknowns, and this isn't the way this township should be running. I mean, we need to be telling everybody the whole scoop and stop this behind the doors, under the table, and all this manipulation that's going on. And it's not at this board level, it's at the other board level where this all seems to be happening. I mean, we've got money coming out of our ears apparently with how we're spending money on vehicles and lawnmowers and pickleball courts. It's not a matter of whether we want them or not, whether we need them or not. It's just, you've established a CIP plan. And so are you abiding by the state law? Why is it one way and not the other? Mr. Montry voiced concerns, and I know that he was primary behind getting this going, but if it's a state law, how come we seem to be breaking the rules all of a sudden? That's all. We're just looking, there's a lot of us that are looking for some sort of clarification. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so seeing none, we'll move on to item 7, new business, and we have no new items on the agenda, so we'll move on to item 8, old business. Item A, Bedford Township CIP discussion, Park Commission. I understand we have a representative from Park Commission tonight. Ms. Rector, do you want to say anything at this point?
I spoke with Mr. Miller, and just for clarification, there haven't been any changes to the spending in the CIP for the parks, and the recent park spending for the came out of the budget for the pickleball ports came out of a different fund, not out of the CIP. It was actually through the budget, and I'm sure that Mr. Niederkorn can speak on that as well. But that was the update from Mr. Miller, Finance Manager.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Niederkorn, did you want to say anything before we ask questions and discuss?
Say anything in regards as to what we're looking at or other information that I've come back with, or you want to start asking questions about?
Why don't we start with what you brought us?
Okay, so talk with a company in particular, BCA Burke. I'm really impressed with how they do in the industry with playscapes, and just from looking at their products and prices comparing to some other companies' prices and whatnot, they seem to be very competitive as far as pricing goes for quality as well. We haven't done any design work yet as far as like exactly what the designs are going to be, but just some of the kind of like the other costs that are associated. Got some numbers on that to kind of get us a base. Talked to a lady from Snyder Recreation who's like the local, like the regional dealer for Burke. She told me that for the amount of shipping will cost about $3,000. The install, if you take a look at just the place that you're buying in particular, you could take the price of that in half, and maybe a little less than half would be about the price of the install. They have really good installers that they have. Personally, I think they've had the same installer for 30 years, they said. They haven't had issues with them. They don't do engineering, but they also said that with the installing the playscape, if there's any drainage work that needs done, just where the playscape sits itself, they do help out with that as well. And then as far as like the ground for the playscape, whether it's going to be mulch or whatnot, the three most common things they use is wood fiber. It's about $6 a square foot. They really don't recommend it because it's basically mulch anyways.
Can I interrupt you for a moment?
Yeah.
I think one of the questions Mr. Tremblay had at the last meeting was, can you give us an idea of what the longevity or lifespan is for a typical playscape?
Typically about 20, 30 years, give or take. It just depends on the maintenance of them, how well they're taken care of, what shape they're in. As far as where ours are at, I'm not too sure. Been crunching some time lately, reaching out to, I can't think of his name, the head of maintenance, Pat. I'm going to reach out to Pat and see if there's anything that they have on file or anything that he's come across lately as far as where we're at with our playscapes, besides what we know we've replaced in recent times on both Carr and White's playscapes.
Does the Parks Board maintain an inventory of what's at every park?
As far as like
a sheet
what,
that lists all
like
everything
what are,
that's
like,
in the park that could be potentially replaced? An inventory of equipment, of playscapes, pavilions, park benches.
not so much so like a list of like this how many benches we have, grills and trash receptacles and everything else down the line. As far as I know, there hasn't been like a list of what's in inventory. If anything, I know maintenance would have that because maintenance just does all the maintaining for us. But
I mean, what I sense I was getting tonight was basically watching a Parks Board meeting, and it's like where you guys just talk about things, and it's like what's documented. What if all of you got run over by a bus one day, God forbid?
yeah,
Who would carry on? Or would they start from scratch?
I don't know.
And I'm asking these questions in context of what a CIP should be. You know, it's a plan. It's something that isn't just kept between a few individuals, but something that is transparent and accessible to anybody in the township. It's about being accountable. And what I want to know from you, do you have Any plans? I mean, as far as I understand, you haven't submitted any, the Parks Board hasn't submitted any numbers to our finance guy, to planning, because I haven't seen anything.
No, nothing yet.
We've had the CIP for how long now? When did it get adopted?
I don't know.
It's been over a year.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Several years, yes.
So I'm wondering, why is it taking so long to get this kind of information to us?
Just haven't had any set prices or designs yet for exactly what's going to happen. For example, the pavilion at Car Park.
Right there, I mean, the exact thing. And I don't think we need exact, you know, I'm good with ballpark numbers. If it's
Okay.
something 10 years out, 5 years out, the price is going to change by then.
Right.
Ms. Rector?
I'm not trying to interrupt. I just want to make sure on Mr. Niederkor's behalf too, that he just was elected to the Park Commission. And
I understand.
He's trying to get caught up. And
Right.
I'll be honest, I tried to work with the previous members of the Park Commission, and I know so has Mr. Miller. So I'm giving him credit for trying to get the
Me too.
information.
And
Yeah,
he's the
I
only
just
guy
want to
that-
make sure that we understand he's taking on what
know.
he's trying to get information for you.
And I've told you before, I appreciate that you come here, and
Yes.
you're the only one that seems to show interest in what we're trying to do.
That's true.
And it isn't just for us, for the township.
Right. For everybody.
And again, I go back to accountability, and we're accountable to taxpayers, as you are.
Yes.
One thing that bothers me, and one question that I had, is I heard you guys voted not to have a board liaison.
That was a while back at the beginning.
So you weren't involved at the time.
That was when we first got on. The reason being for that is because Al had actually did some research, and apparently, according to Michigan Townships Association, we're not required to have a liaison for the Parks Commission. I'm not sure why that is, but because of that, he decided that we could decide whether or not we want one, and we just decided that we didn't need a liaison.
I just get this feeling you guys work and operate in a silo. It shouldn't be like that.
No, it shouldn't be.
And I would recommend that you have a board liaison. And Al Pryor himself said he wasn't going to be the liaison, and is not the liaison. He probably shouldn't be the supervisor.
I mean, he's already part of the Library Advisory Board, so.
I might suggest you guys reconsider that vote and maybe get one. Craig, what would it be? I mean, would you guys discuss it at a township board meeting? Does somebody want to be on it, or is it like nobody wants to be on the Parks Board?
I think that specific issue was just a big headache of I'm trying to think of how to.
Extra work?
No,
Extra
it was
time?
it's Todd. They had Todd as their liaison in the last round, and it was like it was going to be a deal. It seemed like again, and it was just not have a liaison. I think would be my estimation. It was just a headache, and let's make this easier. That's my perspective. What that issue was.
Well, I think parks are pretty central to the community. They're
Right.
part of our master plan.
I agree. I didn't have anything to do with that.
And
I
if
wasn't.
people don't want to participate, they should resign. You know, either you want to be here or you don't.
Yeah, you'd have to ask the park board over me. That's just from my perspective what it seemed like was happening to me.
So anyway, I do commend you for coming here.
Yes.
And I know you're trying and you're doing your best. And I maybe sent some frustration on my part.
I get
And
it.
I think some of the problem is on us. Maybe we haven't been clear about what we need from you guys.
I think a
I
lot
have
of it-
suggestions.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just communication, just the amount of time and everything. I want to do more. I like to do some more emailing and have phone calls later this week and into next week too, and get some more things done. I'm currently working with this representative from this company to get some more info. She sent me some more info today in email. I haven't had time to look at today because today's just not been a good day at work. So,
Josh, I created something I want you to take back to your board.
yeah,
You can use this or throw it away. This would be a sheet that would give you an inventory of what is in every park, what it's going to
Okay.
cost if a tornado hit it and you had to replace it. And it has all the things we need to fill in the CIP blanks.
okay,
It identifies your large assets, your medium, and your small assets.
okay.
Identifies what maintenance, routine maintenance is involved at every park. And you'd have a sheet for every park And there's a bottom part here where you put safety concerns. Want to take a copy of this with you?
Yes, I would like to. We can pick that up at the end of the meeting.
Because I don't want this to be a Parks Board meeting. It isn't what this should be about. It should
No.
be you report to us, we evaluate what the findings you give to us, and we determine priority from what you're presenting to us.
Right. And I do have some things because I did reach out to them. I said, hey, is there anything else that you guys think we should add to the list? Is there any projects you want to see happen that's currently not on here? And I need to know what year you guys want to do this and how much are you thinking? So I did get a few things from them. I know we've talked about doing a pump track after the skate park got dismantled at Parmalee. Andrew was thinking fiscal year 2028, and he said the estimate that they got roughly was about $350,000. I don't think we're gonna be able to do it by 2028, but that was what he told me. What a quote was for a pump track was $350,000. We're not sure which park we want to put out yet. I know for a fact that the township board will not support putting it at Parmalee just because of the previous issues that were there before with the skate park there back in the neighborhood. They want it more in an open area where it's more visible and people can see what's going on there as far as activity wise.
Again, that's probably something really long term.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that.
So that's one thing that came up. The other thing that came up too was over at the pickleball courts over at Car Park, they're being installed. Matt Anger, who's the liaison for Car Park, wants to get a pavilion for the courts. It's more like a shelter area to have like a grill and some picnic tables, kind of like what you see over at Stone Coal off Stearns Road. He was thinking roughly around $30,000 for that, and he'd like to see it next year. I don't think it'll be next year, but we can see what we can do. But that's what he was thinking as well. And I know Al Pryor has been vocal a little bit here and there about doing an outdoor fitness area. From talking to him and presenting the idea to him, and he thinks it's also a great location for it, would be the old skate park location at Parmalee Park, where there's still a fence up there in the area, and he thinks it'd be a good spot for an outdoor fitness area. I'm not sure on pricing yet. As far
Well,
as,
again, that's something on the annual basis. Like you
Right.
come back prior to putting our budget for the year, and as we laid out in the CIP, and I'll quote, on an annual basis, all large assets listed in the CIP and new projects valued at $5,000 or more will be presented on a project on one page, one project per page, stating title and brief description of the project and the request
Okay.
and proposed scheduling, a thorough narrative assessment and justification, and projected cost information to complete the project. So you're going over that right now, and this isn't the time to do that.
Okay. I didn't know
That's
that.
on the wish list. This is what the time and place for it is
Yeah.
at that annual meeting.
Okay. And when is that annual meeting?
The time a year is prior to budget. Are we June to July, or how are we doing it? Should it be May, April, May?
Well, we need to get the information back to Bob by the end of the year so we can get it to the township board for
Want
the
it even
fiscal year.
earlier?
So if he wants to add anything, those would be items that would be to be added for future. But if they're looking to do it next year, then they need to budget that in their annual budget to the township board for the yearly budget, not on the CIP, once it then would be constructed. Then you would add it for repairs and maintenance for future. But if they're looking to want to do that next year, we would not put that in the CIP for a budgeted item. These are for long-term repairs. And I'm just going to interject, at this point, we need to focus on what needs repaired and replaced now, and then add those items for future.
I'll agree with that, but also
Yes.
I think we need to get the process down because we don't have a process going.
And right now, I think the two things are the playscapes at White and Carr are the two big things right now, and they're on the list right now.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I'm just going to echo what you said, with regards to a process, right? So, I mean, we can sit here and we can talk about what's going on, but I agree. There's a budgetary process that follows an annual schedule. And I think, Josh, to that point, figure out what that schedule is and then work to get the adequate data ahead of those so that you can represent what the parks need most adequately. And then that gets in the budget for next year. I agree with Mr. Mahoney here. I think that's the best approach.
Thank you.
In addition to what Mr. Mahoney and Mr. Lake said, I know you had mentioned that the expected lifetime on these playscapes is 10 to 20 years, you said?
About 20 to 30.
20 to 30?
Yeah.
So who's maintaining them for those 20 to 30 years?
township maintenance.
Okay. And did they maintain the current playscapes we had? I know I asked you last time, do these playscapes really need to be replaced, or do they have a bunch of deferred maintenance?
At this time, there isn't any deferred maintenance I'm aware of. I know White and Carr have been the ones that have had to have things replaced, not so much Parmalee or Samaria. Right now, they're okay shape, but they are reaching that expected lifetime replacement.
Okay. And what's the failure on them currently that's requiring a replacement?
We had a slide that car park getting replaced. At White, there's a regular playground for older kids, and there's a small playground for toddlers. The toddler playground had a platform that had a hole in it that we had to temporarily cover and then order the new platform to come in to replace it with, which that has been done.
Okay.
But just other things, we're not sure what's next thing that's going to come up until someone sees it and reports it.
Okay, and I mean, I'll echo what I said last time, and I don't know if the rest of the board agrees or not, but how do we justify a $216,000 playscape for a $3,500 platform or a $5,000 slide?
Right.
You know, those will be my concerns.
Anybody else? Mr. Andrews?
You mentioned Carr and White being priorities. I guess within the next 5 years, you've got all the playscapes on here
Right.
replaced. So, and Carr and White Park, you know, the nearest replacements you have on here aren't even Carr or White Park's playscapes. It's Carr's pavilion,
Right.
Samaria, and Carr's gazebo, and White Park's basketball court, sidewalk, ADA accessibility. I guess,
Yeah.
like, what drove those four to be listed as ranked number one?
That I'm not sure.
Essential list.
That was already set that way when I came on. As far as the pavilion goes, it's been shut down because of safety issues. Manick and Smith has been looking into it. They've been evaluating it, and what it sounds like is that they're recommending doing a rebuild, I guess. And we haven't gone out for bid yet or anything set in place to go and do proposals for that. That's something that Matt Anger has been head up because he's the liaison for Car Park. The gazebos I've been talking about at our meetings. The rest of the board, they're either they just don't want to do them or they just don't think they're necessary. I mean, I've been trying to get an answer to them. Okay, what are we going to do with these gazebos? Are we going to do
That's
them
why
or
you
not?
need a board liaison.
Are the gazebos being used?
Not really.
Samaria and Carr?
Not so much. I mean, I know the one at Samaria back in the summertime, someone had rented the hall and the pavilion there, and supposedly they were doing a wedding or having a reception there, and they also wanted to use the gazebo, and they asked if they could, and we said yes, you can use the gazebo as well. So it was something to do with a wedding, which that was back in the summer at Samaria.
I guess what I'm driving at is these four that you've listed as essential for replacement next year. Just maybe give some thought, and the playscapes, which you've labeled as essential, ranked
Right.
number 2. Give some thought as to whether those actually need to be completed, whether you're going to replace them. Sounds like you guys are talking about whether you're going to replace the gazebos. So
Yeah, I mean, what we want to do with the playscapes is we've also been wanting to do an inclusive playground as well, which we don't have one right now. And that's a lot of the reason why those are kind of up there, is they want to do an inclusive playground. I know several years back before I even came on, they had applied for a grant for an inclusive playground and didn't make the cut for the grant. But it's been something that's been on the list, and I know Al's been wanting to get an inclusive playground because even Al personally believes we should have an inclusive playground for all children to play and access.
yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think, unfortunately, the situation you guys are in with your finances is you've got so many items listed as essential. Like, all the items we have in the CIP that are labeled essential are your items. And so
Right.
future projects like that, which I think the township would really benefit from, you can't do. Just because you guys don't have the money allocated in the
Right.
CIP. To add it in the CIP, to me, means you have to remove some other stuff or punt it a little further. So
Right.
what are the items that you can punt from the current CIP maybe for replacement next year, 2027 up through 2030, are there items that you no longer want to replace or could replace at a later date?
Would this be in the essential category or the other categories?
I think that's what we're kind of asking you to maybe reestablish for some of these items, right? And then I think the other thing is if your relationship, it sounds like you have a good relationship with a playscape manufacturer.
Yeah.
Can you vet these current expected replacement values? Maybe there's some wiggle room in the downward, hopefully the downward direction.
There is a little bit. This one company that I've been talking with, in fact, I was looking at their catalog they have. There's one playscape that they've done in Wisconsin near where their headquarters are. It is an inclusive playground, and I forgot to ask her if the price in the catalog reflects the sale right now or not, or if it's the usual price. This inclusive play set that I saw is just the place that doesn't include the ground, like whether it's the turf or the rubber or anything else. About $130,000 just for that equipment alone.
Yeah, so like if you can tell us that to
Yeah.
replace the Cars Grove playscape's going to cost $130,000.
That would just be the place that wouldn't include everything else, but with everything else included,
So let's call it 180. If you can say it's 180 instead of 250, which is what we've allocated currently, like that helps make wiggle room.
and that's the other thing too. Like working with her and any of these other playscapes, let's sit down, do some designs, and have some options. Like, okay, do we like this? Do we like this one? And see what the prices are and the features of them, and then come back or even just submit to you guys for you guys to look at before another meeting and see what you're thinking as well.
Yeah, I guess we're not really thinking anything. I think. Well, I don't want to speak for everybody. We're kind of leaving that to you guys to.
Right.
But we do need to probably whittle some of these items down or find ways to save on cost for some of these replacements or something to that end. Unless you guys are seeking some kind of outside funding like a grant or.
We're looking at grants, and we're also looking at potentially doing some community donations as well. That's what we're looking at doing. It was a little bit of that. As well, the one thing I will mention right now, I don't think we'll be able to purchase right now, but if we were, it would be amazing because this current company is currently offering a 40% discount on play equipment if you order by December 19th.
Mr. Lake?
Yeah, just one more comment, and then I'll quiet for a little while. But looking at some of the items on the list, the other thing we should be considering is addition by subtraction, right? More green space with maybe one less gazebo or pavilion. How much is it used? I think there were some good questions like how much is the pavilion at Samaria Park used? You know, you hate to see them go away, but at the same time, more green space, more place to play football, frisbee, whatever, versus having to replace something that could be expensive.
Right.
Something to think about as well.
For sure.
I might suggest with this inventory list,
Yes.
you take this and you reconcile it with what we've been given. I don't know who on the board gave us these estimates. Do you?
I have no idea who put these.
Yes.
I'm not sure. This was put together before I came, so.
I don't even know how accurate they are, and they haven't been updated. And I don't think Bob.
And I think the
Miller's
numbers could be
gotten
off too.
An update in over a year.
They are numbers that Katrina and I researched on an estimate cost when we initiated the CIP because there was no defined answer.
So nobody on the Parks Board ever gave any input in this. There's a problem there. That's a big disconnect. And you guys are the experts because this is your purview. This is your area.
Right.
I'd suggest starting with this, reconcile it with what they have on the CIP, the Excel spreadsheets,
Yeah.
and come back. And it'll be interesting to see what you guys say. You know, maybe there's something that isn't as essential, or maybe something's more of an emergency right now.
Right.
I'll add to, I don't want to be a dead horse on these gazebos, but, you know, I will echo that that was one of my initial thoughts is, do we need these? What value do they provide? Are they useful? And not only the replacement cost, but what does it cost to maintain them? We put a new roof on them how many every years? Wood, paint, you know, stuff like that. They're not just to rebuild it and let it sit and not think about it for 30 or 40 years type asset. You know, getting to the cost thing, you know, I guess I'll back up. Thank you for coming and explaining this. Sorry, I should have said that first. But from the cost standpoint, I really think you need to be working with an engineer. And I'm an engineer, so I'll tell you that. We do cost estimates all the time for things like this. And we have a resource sitting here in the audience that we have a contract with that works with us all the time. So I'm sure we could spare a little bit of money to get some good information to help make this a better product. And
Right.
I'm sure they've done a lot of these type of projects throughout the county, in Michigan, Ohio, and other states. And it might be worth reaching out to see, can we spend a little bit of money to get that information and help build a better basis and get actual cost estimates of what these might take to do and replace. But again, going back to the grants as well that were hit on, I think that's a really important aspect we need to consider, and, really need to exhaust all resources, if that's, something we're looking at doing that maybe isn't essential but desirable, maybe that's a better avenue to pursue instead of moving some of these things around, because I do agree. We've got a lot of essential items. I agree that some of them probably are truly at their end of life. There are, in terms of the playscapes, safety requirements have changed, manufacturing materials and things have changed. So, I do see how they can become obsolete after a certain period of time and no longer safe or usable. But I'll go there. I said enough.
One
If
thing
you do that, the rules of the CIP is you can't spend money for advisory costs without coming to the Planning Commission first.
Okay. One thing I will add about the gazebo car park, I forgot to mention earlier. If you go there, you'll see as well, but there's something to do with, there's plaques there with people's names on them. I'm not sure if these people have donated money to it, if it was something that was in memory of someone at Carr. That's something I've mentioned to Al about it, because I know Andrew or Matt, one of them said something about, well, maybe with the new pavilion we might get rid of the gazebo. I'm like, I don't know if we can do that, because I saw this over here, and it's that's something you have to talk to these people about if they're okay with removing it completely. So that's something else that needs to get done that hasn't been done yet, as far as making sure that's okay even.
Anybody else?
Do we know if there was a deed restriction or restrictive covenant or anything on the property saying that can't be removed?
The gazebo, that I don't know if that's, like I said, that's something that I need to talk with Al about still.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Not at this time. I'll send you an email tomorrow.
You want to take this?
Yes, I will. And then we can start from there.
Okay. Cool. Thank you so much again for
Yeah, you're welcome. I can grab that real quick.
Yeah. You can tweak it however you want, but it's got to be loaded with some information to present, right? Okay, moving on to item 8B, discussion on the master plan. Ms. Borton?
Hello. How's everybody tonight?
Billy.
I do want to, so tonight I want to tell you about a few things that I know about changes on the master plan since you've last seen it in September. Talk a little bit about our open house. I think most of you were there or part of the time. And just to have more discussion with you on whether you want more changes, because you're allowed to bring changes to this document as you see fit. As far as the open house that happened in September, we had some people come in, not a tremendous amount, and from my recollection and the feedback that we've received, we didn't get any earth-shattering information that would make us want to change anything. That is my take. Whether or not you agree, it's up to you, and we can talk about that. I think we really got more reinforcement on what we already knew, which is people really want to preserve the township's rural character, improve connectivity if we can, ensure that there's adequate police, fire, and emergency services. Those were the three top vote getters. So it's in keeping with what we've been doing, and it will add a couple of pages to the master plan as far as reporting on the engagement. So that would be at the very end of the document. As far as minor changes, I received one email from Mr. Miller and actually pointed out some discrepancies in minor things. For example, page 2, instead of 5 geographic areas at the bottom of the page, it's actually 7. You will recall that we added some geographic sub-areas, and that was, I neglected to update that particular piece. Then existing land use on page 6. He noted, and rightfully so, that the text didn't seem to mesh with the table. And it's not that it contradicts, it's just that the text is more specific. So I will reword that to make it clearer. You will notice the updated 2020 land use kind of groups that first category, agricultural and rural residential. And what I was trying to do in the text is separate what's active agriculture versus what's residential, whether rural or single family. So I will make that text a little clearer. The numbers don't change, but it's what it is. Then if you go to page, no, that's, I wanted to point your attention to page 1819, which really describes the community goals. And if we have or desire some changes from the open house, this is where you'd see it. But from my perspective, I don't believe we need to do anything here. Then on page 51, at the bottom of the page under police and fire services, Mr. Miller reminded me that the fire stations and fire services are no longer volunteer and that the stations have been renumbered. So I'm correcting that in the text as one in Undine Road, or 2 Undine Road, 1 in Temperance, and Station 3 on Lewis Avenue North, and deletion of volunteer. So that's where we stand, not big changes. I will continue to review the document for quality control. And if you do notice any typos or any discrepancies that you're aware of, please point them out to me. I really enjoy making sure the document is foolproof.
Anyone have any questions for Ms. Fortin? Ms. Riker?
I just wanted to let the commission know that the master plan was sent out for review and comments to all adjacent jurisdictions on September 18th after it went to the township board. We did that all via email, and I did get confirmation from all of those that they had received it. So we have not gotten any comments further back. That will be the time frame we have to wait, and that goes until November 26th. We do have tentatively the schedule for the public hearing for the master plan for your recommendation to the township board or any further public comments at that time on December 10th's meeting. Please let me know if you are unable to attend that meeting for informational purposes.
Okay, Mr. Andrews.
A few questions. Could we, if you haven't already, could you give us copies of the couple boards that were here for the public outreach, maybe just pictures of them? I just wanted to look at some of the results. I came in the beginning but couldn't stay the whole time.
Okay. Well, actually, I if you want to pass that around, this is compilation.
Okay.
And it shows the votes.
Okay. The other thing I was going to ask is this copy, and maybe this is a Jody question, is this scanned? Or it's not like a PDF where you can like do a text search. That's why I was asking.
You cannot correct anything on it when it comes. It's all PDF filed, not a Word doc.
Well, you can
It's
do a
flattened or something?
find.
You can do fine.
Yeah, and that's a way to search. Are you looking for something in particular?
Yeah, I'm not able to use the find function. Could just be
Stuck with it.
me, but
Is there something specific? Are you looking for the comments?
it's easier to review when you can use the find function. I'm not able to. I don't know what PDF software you guys are using.
Adobe Acrobat.
So I was wondering if it was like flattened or if this was a scanned copy, but
No,
work that out
it's
offline.
not. And I'm able to do
same
the
copy.
find, so I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Well, you want Lucy to try to send it to you directly from her?
Maybe that would
I
help.
can do
I'll
that.
send you his. You might have his email already.
I
think in one
believe
of
I
those
do.
files. Yeah, we can do that. But I did want to let you know that all the changes that were addressed at the last Planning Commission meeting, those changes were made before it went to the Township Board.
Right.
Yes.
I guess I should have clarified
That's
that.
all right. I just wanted to let you know that those, that's what I thought maybe you were looking for, the changes that were discussed.
I started to peruse them, and that's kind of what I was getting at. Is
Yes,
if
and
Liz-
those have been
And I'm
addressed.
sorry, I should have said that from the get-go. I thought for some reason, it happened a long time ago, so I assume you knew.
The only question I had was, as far as like further comments, if we go through this, in some more detail between now and that December meeting, we can still provide comment to you as a commission up until that date, or I guess when's the cutoff?
I would really prefer before that, if possible. And the reason is that I'd like to come to the public hearing with an updated draft.
Okay.
That way it's cleaner kind of approval, if you will. I mean, obviously, if there's something from the public hearing that makes you want to make further changes, I'll go back and do another draft. But I would love to have a public hearing version that would incorporate all of what you would like to see in it.
That's December 10, did you say?
That would be the earliest.
The public
Be the
hearing
public
is
hearing.
going to be the earliest at December 10th.
So the week before, say, so that way I can return that version to you before that meeting.
So any additions, suggestions, December 3rd? Get them to Jody and Lucy.
Maybe the beginning of that week, because I think December 3rd are your packets, right?
That's all right. This I can scan because it'll only go to them.
Okay.
Yep.
Whatever works.
Anybody have anything else for Ms. Forden? Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Okay, moving on to item 9, public comment.
Gail Kane, Temperance. To the fire department comment, that is just like Temperance, Lambertville, Samaria. The fire stations are numbered by station, Station 30, Station 47, and Station 56. They are District 1, 2, and 3. So that is the information that you need for the fire departments. And I hate to be the town crier, but I sat here and listened. I had some other things I was going to bring up, but it's so irritating, this CIP issue. None of the park board members that were reelected are here. The township liaison, the story is there was a little bit of a battle over who did and didn't want and who the park board wanted and didn't want. That's the dirty laundry. Then you have the ARPA committee, who did and did not want to give the parks money to do what they wanted to do because our township board, the full-timers that sat on ARPA, wanted to control what got done and didn't get done. That's the dirty laundry in your park situation, people. That is where it all went south. So the other park board was doing their best. I was attending the meetings. Lamar Frederick was attending with me. We had been asked by park board members to come and try to bring attention to the issues within the park system for the public because we dared to stand up. So I'm here to tell you that they really did not have a good understanding of what the CIP was all about. I will tell you, and it may be denied so they can call me a liar, I don't care anymore. They asked for Bob, the finance Bob as we call him, to come to their meeting. He would not do it. He was told not to do it. He's paid, apparently, not as a salaried person. So we've had mixed conversations and mixed information regarding that. They floundered with the CIP process when it first came out. So Josh is not educated enough to know what he's supposed to be doing and not supposed to be doing. I sat here and watched the other board work with that CIP process. It was not easy for them. They did try to put numbers in. They really didn't know what was being asked. They reached out for help and didn't get it. That's the bottom line right there. You know, do you want a Cadillac version of a playscape or can you have something simple? This is the whole thing, and there is not a liaison. That's true. But Mr. Pryor is interjecting into that committee his best to try to give them direction, as he says he's going to get them on the right path. So Al Pryor is the one that's interjecting in all this, And if Car Park is having everything done, then your Car Park representative should have been here. So this is the issue. They're an elected board. Some of your parks are owned by the Parks Commission, and some of them are by the township. So there's that history in itself. So it's very, very complicated, but the bottom line comes in. They said that they gave them all this money to do with what they wanted to do, but they don't get to do with it what they want to do because the full-time staff at the township is dictating to them what they want to have done and what they see as a priority. It's a mess, and it has been over the last 8 years, and this year has been no different. So that is your history. You won't get the previous people. There was conflicts between township employees and park employees fighting for what they thought was the right thing to do. It was not a pretty picture for this township. It really wasn't. And all you got to do is go back and look at the minutes. The issue is that the ARPA committee meetings were never videotaped despite being asked to have them do so. So it comes down to he said and she said. And I agree with Jody. I mean, they tried. It just was not a nice situation over the previous, 4 years or 8 years that the parks were dealing with all the issues that they were having. So to me, that's just your heads up. If I may interject a little bit, we've got Mulch King, and I know everybody loves him, and I appreciate what he does as well, but you need to look at what he's doing and all that he's doing, and I've yet to get an answer as to what he does if it is part of what he was given the permission to do. Secondly, you have the Sunoco and downtown Temperance. He put in that parking lot, the gravel lot. His gravel touches the house next door. To what degree are we not having the ordinance people go out and check post any conditions you put on these people? Now, maybe some of that is BZA, but still, that's a concern to me. So I just wanted to bring those things to your attention. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, moving to item 10, information. Ms. Rector?
Yes, I believe the next meeting is scheduled for November 12th. I believe Mr. Lake, will you be out that meeting?
I'll be out of town, yes.
Yes, I couldn't remember who, I'm trying to remember what I wrote down on my calendar. And so if you are unable to attend, let me know. Right now, I'm hoping to bring back, at least for further discussion, either the master plan on the 12th or the 26th. I think, the 19th. I think we moved it to the 19th. The 12th or the 19th before the holiday. And then because when we come back from the holiday, the next meeting will be on the 10th then for the public hearing. So I would like to make sure that we can get all that taken care of for Ms. Fortin beforehand. Other than that, have a good evening.
Maybe we could try to get, if you have any suggestions before that. And
Yes.
Less ditch a week before that 10th. Day.
At least we could have further discussion as a board if I have another meeting before that time frame as well.
Have plenty of time, or have had plenty of time. Item 11, commission staff comment. Mr. Tremblay.
Good discussion tonight. I will be out of town for the November 12th and 19th meeting. Other than that, that's all. Everybody has a great night.
Okay, Mr. Montry.
Yeah. Vote no on the Monroe County Community College millage. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Dersch.
I am good for the 10th of December, but I'll be gone the 17th. I will be out December 17th. And will we be getting a calendar for next year before the public hearing in December? What's the time frame to start looking at that?
We usually try to get that schedule set by the end of December to the commission, but I do have a few members, unfortunately, that their terms end at the end of this year. So we try to get it ahead of time because the appointments don't happen until after the first of the year, depending on the township board schedule. So normally we try to get that schedule, but if you know a date in January that you tentatively think you might not be in, usually the beginning of the year is always the second and fourth Wednesdays. You can almost guarantee that time frame. Sorry, I'm not repeating all that.
Mr. Lake.
Usually the second and the fourth Wednesdays.
I have no comment.
I'll say that I don't have children or grandchildren that play in our parks, but I realize the importance the parks are to the community. And I think if the Parks Board does their job and provides information in a concise, clear manner, makes their pitch to the board for funding for the projects that they have, you know, the public's going to be aware then, and that these guys did their homework. They crossed their T's, dotted their I's, and if elected officials don't think parks are important to fund, then they can deal with the constituents at election time. You know, so I just want the process set up, and I want it kept up to date. I want the communication lines open. That's all I want from this. So, Mr. Andrews.
Yeah, I think Ms. Keene brought up a good point. Each park has a representative member of the park commission, and they're obviously not all present. I almost wonder if it's worthwhile for a member of this commission to visit the park board, maybe a meeting later this year sometime, to provide an explanation, as has been stated, of what we're looking for out of the CIP more thoroughly. I know, like, we obviously gave you a lot of info, Josh, tonight, but maybe just so that all parties are present, we can maybe just run through what we're looking for as far as review of what's on the list currently, process for adding to the list or changing the list, and when those changes need to be done by, just so it's not secondhand, and that we can provide very direct direction as to what we need from them. And I'm not necessarily volunteering. I think, Pat, you've done a really good job kind of starting to try to usher that in. So if there's a nomination process, I'd nominate you. But maybe it's all of it. I don't know, maybe it's multiple members from our commission. But I think potentially, and maybe that's something to take back to the Parks Commission is, you know, if we could get on your agenda one week, you know, one of us maybe could come be present and we could kind of talk through what's needed and next steps for this.
Hey, Mr. Helm.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Ms. Ingram? Nothing. And Ms. Rector?
Only thing I'm going to say is I will agree with Mr. Andrews, and if one of the commission members would volunteer to go to one of those, I would attend that meeting also, so we could both be on the same page if anybody was desiring. And yes, I would encourage the Park Commission to put the CIP on the agenda to discuss at their meetings. I would encourage that, because I believe the last couple meetings that I've watched have been where Mr. Niederkorn is discussing it at the end, and it's not on full discussion.
Good point. Okay, with that, we'll adjourn the meeting.